So arm injury for position players, it's not as common as pitchers, but it's also still a problem. You know, the things you do here, you hear a lot of Tommy John from position players, but you also hear the labrum tears, the rotator cuff tears. But the issues with the elbow are probably going to be a little bit more common. I haven't looked at the science on that. I'm just kind of going off my theory. But what is causing the elbow injuries, we can definitely look at the science. So when you take that elbow and you put it below your shoulder and you go into layback, which is typically the way your arm pushes back when you throw, you're going to put excessive amounts of torque in your elbow. So that's where you got to be careful as a position player, because, you know, position players are very unique. Y'all make different types of throws all the time, mainly because a lot of your short distance throws just need to be you getting rid of the ball quickly. It doesn't need to be like a fully optimized kinetic chain hard throw. So when you do that, yeah, you're getting rid of it quickly, but you tend to use your arm and you put your arm in more stressful positions. So that's where you might be dropping the elbow and pushing. And if you're trying to do that quick and you're trying to put a lot on it, you could be throwing the torques really high, much higher than if, say, you were throwing even harder in a full throw, in a full delivery. So you need to be aware of that position player when you're throwing. And if you start having elbow issues, start thinking about what kind of throws have I been making most common across the diamond. Has it been, or even, I mean, it's not going to, you're going to see less of those throws in the outfield, so it is going to be more common across the diamond. But what kind of throws am I making? If I'm making a lot of these throws, that could be why my arm hurts, right? And that's where I would start going back over the top and going through the full delivery. Because when that elbow gets over the shoulder, the arm lays back better. It has more freedom to lay back. Therefore, it's going to put less stress, less, you know, it gives it more time to accelerate, so less torque, which is stress, and on the arm, and more than likely you're not going to fall into that. So one key way to stay healthy as a position player is trying to get elbow over shoulder, right? Trying to get elbow over shoulder in your throws and incorporate the trunk better. Because there's studies showing that 86% of the energy that's going through the arm to the ball is coming from the trunk. So if I'm more focused on throwing my trunk, so if I don't put my arms behind the back, if I'm more focused on doing this than just doing this, I guarantee you my arm is not going to be taking as much of the abuse. Now, where other things can go wrong, you know, even if you got the elbow above the shoulder, and look, if you want to throw sidearm, you still got to drop your trunk. So like my elbow's over my shoulder, so if I drop my trunk, I'm throwing sidearm, right? So if I'm going to throw sidearm, I need to really lean into it, so my elbow's still over my shoulder. That's the key to sidearm without putting elbow below the shoulder. But if I am still elbow over shoulder, right, and I'm experiencing some arm problems, there's other issues. And that's the timing issues. And the real timing is it's at landing, where's my trunk? Is my trunk closed or is it open? Specifically with outfielders, because outfielders are coming in so hard and fast, sometimes they don't close their trunks off as they throw their arm back. And then that puts the arm in what we call hyperangulation or arm drag, where the trunk is already open or it's flying open early and the arm is still behind the back. So when the elbow is behind the scapular plane, behind the back, when you square up, so the moment you square up to where you're throwing, if your elbow is behind your back, as you're accelerating the energy to your arm, you're hyper or arm dragging your arm. And what that does is it puts excessive stress on the front of the shoulder, which could lead to labrum tears, and it's still putting excessive stress on the elbow. It's also delaying pronation. When the thumb turns down, you remove the stress on the elbow. It's a release of stress on the elbow. And that typically happens when you're throwing the ball as well. But if you're in a drag or you're flying out, obviously you're sidearm, and I'm sure not many of you want to be sidearm unless you're in a shorter distance throw. You're saying supinated, you're saying thumb back, and you're fighting harder to get the thumb around. And then that can weaken the pronator, the flexor pronator, which is going to be able to less protect the joint, the UCL. So all these dragging, flying out movements put stress on the flexor mass or the forearm and delays pronation, potentially putting a lot more stress on the arm. There are also, too, if you're flying out, there's a lot more distraction forces. That's your arm being pulled out of socket. And while it's being pulled out, you're fighting to bring it across a lot more stress, a lot more stress. So think about that. The most optimal movements to prevent the arm injury is not letting the elbow drop and pushing the elbow. It's getting the elbow up over the shoulder as you turn, delaying your trunk so that landing it's still closed. It's not flying open where your arm is going to be dragging, okay? So as you come into rotation, your elbow can stay up with your shoulder. It stays over your shoulder so it can lay back. And then you get to pronation early, which is also what spins your ball better. You get better spin with more pronation acceleration. And that's going to be the healthier throw. So just analyze your movement. If you're seeing elbow too low, there's your problem. If you're seeing trunk flying open early, arm back, there's your problem. And if you're seeing fly out and delayed pronation, there's your problem. So those are 3 things right there that you can really focus on to get your arm back to health. Also 2, strength matters most. You could be weak. How do you know you're weak? Go to armcare.com or actually go to TopVelocity.net/armcare, because we'll give you a discount through it. And through that link, get the Armcare Dynamometer and app. And you can do a quick assessment of your arm health. What it's testing is internal external rotation strength, overhead strength or scapation. It's testing grip strength, and it can tell you if you're strong enough to handle high amounts of throws or competitive throws in the current state you're in. So you should check this all the time, because it's going to tell you, yeah, you're strong today, or you're weak today, you're at risk today, or you're at risk all the time because you're just not strong enough. And then from there, you can do training like we do at Top Velocity. And if you want to get more of that training to get strong and prevent that injury and get better at these mechanics, then go to TopVelocity.net. Check out the 2X Velocity Programs. It covers all that. And I hope that really helps, guys. Injury is our specialty, because I tore my rotator cuff. So I went to school to get my master's, finishing my PhD, because I really want to understand it, and I understand it very well, and I've helped a lot of guys all the way to the major league level with their arm problems. So if you have any of that, please reach out to us. We want to help you. I'll tell you right now, you can get healthy quick and you can stay healthy. And the problem is a lot of the training today is actually not teaching you how to do this well, and it's leading you to injury. So be aware of that, and you can get out of that once you learn it to do it correctly. So if you have any comments, leave us below. If not, go to TopVelocity.net, check out the programs, and I'll have a lot more videos coming for you.